Welcome to the On Par podcast from the beautiful Winners Award Group showroom here in Coconut Creek, Florida. I've got a longtime friend and a new friend on today, Brad Meyers to my left.
Thanks for having me.
Nice to have you, Brad. And then Todd Harris, a friend of Brad's that's now my friend.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming up, Todd.
Yeah, it's great being here.
I appreciate it. So, we're gonna kind of not go in the golf direction to start and then circle back to it towards the end of this conversation because, we've had a couple of different guests on here over the last 2 years that have had some interesting technology. And you guys have some interesting technology that seems to be doing really great things for you. So, Brad and I hang out on the weekends. Our kids play in the pool together. We throw the football around. We might have been fishing a few times.
Very true.
We even made it out on the golf course one time.
Yes, we did.
But that was like 4 or 5 years ago, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
When Charlie, your brother,
yep,
who I was in a networking group with and still very good friends, introduced me to you.
I think that was a Wednesday just before Thanksgiving, and we were at Inverary Country Club.
No, we were up at the Tower Club in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, but we also played golf.
Oh, yes, we played. Okay, right. The first time we met, we were at the Tower Club, but yes, we played at Inverary.
Yep.
Back when there was an Inverary. I don't think it's there anymore.
It may not be.
So,
it may not be.
So, Brad, it's a pleasure. Why don't you kind of give me we were in the pool playing. You had a sticker on your neck.
Sure.
And I think I might have asked you, what's up with that sticker on your neck?
You probably thought it was some type of pain patch or something. And
I actually thought you got cut or something. Maybe when you're saving lives as a firefighter,
yeah,
you got an injury or something, but that was not it at all.
It does look a little bit like a bandage.
Like a Band-Aid,
that you'd use if you were shaving.
A little circle Band-Aid.
Yeah. However, it's so much more than that.
Sure.
So
then you said...
So I let you know that I was trying out the X39 patches, which at that time I knew to be phototherapy, not much more behind it. It's since become definitely built into my early morning ritual of making sure, which we discussed this morning, of when I throw it on. First thing I jet for is a cup of coffee because I really can't do much without that. And the second thing that goes on is a patch.
Okay.
And what I will tell you is that in the first month, I was hyper analyzing it in the first couple of days, and then I was fortunate enough to have a number of people from my pickleball group, not a golf group, but my pickleball group.
They're very closely related, so keep going.
They are. That introduced me to the patch, and they saw me laboring and missing some weeks, and I would only play once a week. So not very much.
What was hurting you? I know you're a tennis guy first and then pickleball, obviously, but
yes.
What was hurting you?
So since I was 19 years old, I've been plagued by right knee pain. Mm-hmm. And it initially started with a complete ACL tear, which I had a full reconstruction done. I won't get into more than that.
So your knee is metal like Tiger Woods' knee, basically.
Not yet, but I may be headed in that direction even with the patch. But I will tell you this. I had my ACL that was basically repaired with a patella graft. So they used part of my tissue to repair it. I was good after that, but I was at the time I was an athlete in college. Mm-hmm. And so I was rehabbing heavy and I got back to it. At some point, throughout my adult life, now I did teach tennis for about 18 years. So I was grinding away on the tennis court with a lot of the adult men that I played with also some of the older juniors. They basically wanted to come out and hit hard and run hard. Mm-hmm. And that's what we did. So there was less on technique and mechanics, and it was more just getting out there and getting a workout. At some point during that time, I tore my ACL that was reconstructed. Mm-hmm. I would have consistent flare-ups. Now, when I say consistent, I would say 6 to 10 times a year, I would have noticeable swelling to my right knee. And every day at the end of the day and every morning when I was starting out, getting out of bed, I would feel it. Mm-hmm. About 3 years ago, I had another lateral meniscus tear. And that's when I actually found out that in the past, I had also torn that ACL for a second time. So anybody who's been through an injury like that, whether it's shoulder, back, or knee, they realize that's something you think about on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. So when you're stepping off a curb, or you're going downstairs, or you're getting up out of a chair, you think about it. I can tell you at this point right now, I do not think about it anymore.
And how does this sticker with the light therapy, feed into that? Like, what's the story? I know you're not the science guy, and
I will give
you,
yeah.
But just give me like the 30,000 foot. I can tell you what I remember from the pool conversation was, it helps you have your stem cells activate again that have been inactive, because we're all over 30. We're not, none of us are over 60 yet.
Not yet.
But I think you just gave me the 30,000 foot view of, if you're over 30, half your stem cells work.
Sure.
If you're over 60, basically none of them are doing any. Is that right, Todd?
Basically 90% of your...
90%.
Yeah.
So now you're regenerating stem cells through light therapy, and we're not going to go deeper science-wise. I know you can, Todd, but we don't want to do that right now.
Right.
So how has that, you put it on, and then what? And then
so
how much time went by? Like, give me the whole rundown.
Okay, for the knee, it took a little bit longer. But prior to that happening, I started to feel energy, mood enhancement. And I gave you the example that I had first, and I probably didn't relate this to Todd right off the bat, although I'm sure he would have appreciated it. But I found myself walking into work. As you can imagine, when you came in today, probably weren't skipping in, whistling. But I got out of the car. I had a noticeable, like to the point to where I was kind of like questioning it, like what the hell's going on? Increase in energy, and the mood enhancement was the thing that basically clued me into the energy increase as well. And the mood enhancement was almost like an excitement that I had not felt in years. Like the type you would feel when you were younger, high school, big weekends coming up, college, hey, we got a big football coming, like that type of excitement.
But you were walking into the firehouse.
Walking into work.
Okay.
So improve quality of life.
Improve quality of life.
And now, we should put the disclaimer: we're not making any health claims. We're not, giving FDA endorsement or anything like that. We're just talking and telling stories, and we'll get it back to golf like I promised.
Yes.
So,
and on that disclaimer, I mean, it's not that there hasn't been any tweaks, because I haven't magically formed an ACL, and my knee joint isn't totally repaired. I have to believe that there is maybe some cartilage formation. So you wanted to talk about what are the stem cells doing that have been, basically awakened. I believe that they're repairing tissue in there. And Todd could tell me if I'm right or wrong on that. But I believe that I am not feeling the bone-on-bone grinding, for your golf crowd. I can only imagine when you're really rotating into a stroke, or whatever type of, whether you're driving or whatever it is, if you had an affected front knee, which you're rotating on and probably putting the most torque on, that's what I notice. I don't get the swelling. And so I'll give you an example.
Well, you also mentioned you're recovering faster from workouts.
100%.
As well. So is that just soreness, or is that if you feel like a little tweak? Because we all get the little tweaks if we're roughhousing with the kids, which Hunter's brutal. I've wrestled with him. And Nick is bigger than me, and I think he's probably about your height.
I'm not messing with him. I'm trying to get on his side.
Yeah, you should be on Nick's side for sure. Nick is my 15-year-old for you, Todd.
Okay.
So, and you probably heard about Hunter. Hunter's a bruiser, man.
He is. But to get back to, I think what we were getting to, like what I'm able to do, right? I am not experiencing and it's not even the recovery. I'm not experiencing like the post-workout or post-pickleball game
fatigue, soreness,
pain. Let's just call it pain. What it was, because it was pain, and there was swelling. And I do not have the swelling. I do not have the pain or the clicking. Now, when I do have, so if I were to lift my leg, returning on lateral motion, if I were to lift my leg, being that I don't have that joint, I don't have that ligament holding it, it kind of floats freely. So every once in a while, I do have that pain, the recovery after that is so much faster.
Okay. And Todd, what made you tell Brad, listen, you got to try this? Because there was something he said or did that you said, hey, Brad, you really got to try this.
It's who he told. He delivered the message to my pickleball group. Basically.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you went and spoke at the group.
No.
Or you're in the group.
No, so the origin story was, it was a good friend of ours, a mutual friend, Danny Brenda, who's a tennis coach.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is how I was introduced to Brad. And again, it's how, this all unfolds, because when you have something that can bring value to somebody, whether it's a new golf club that, you're like, dude, you got to try this.
Yeah.
You just naturally want to share it. And so that's how I met Brad.
Okay.
And then that relationship started to happen, and then he leads me to you. And why did he lead you? Because of what we just heard.
Yeah.
Thought about you enough. You said, what's on your neck? This little sticker.
Yep.
That again doesn't treat, cure, mitigate, prevent diagnose any illness.
Sure.
But
Todd's not an attorney. He just plays one on the podcast.
Yeah. No. But anyway, and so it's just been remarkable. And it's results drive the demand of this thing. Mm-hmm. It's you put it on, and essentially, when the body gets challenged with anything, we're knocked off balance. And so, this phototherapy technology, what it's doing is it's allowing the body to reset internally, right? And it helps bring back function.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your story that somebody obviously showed this to you and said, hey, you got to try this. So give us, what was the why behind that?
Well, yeah, that's interesting. A dear friend of mine, Andy Hosier, known Andy for over 10 years, calls me up to tell me about this little sticker that had a profound impact on the quality of his life. He's a golfer. His daughter's a collegiate golfer. So love to maybe have talk to him at some point.
I'd love to have her on the podcast. Forget about him. Let's get the college golfer.
Yeah. But anyway, he was debilitated with a shoulder issue, and his buddy was telling him about this little sticker. And Andy was pretty frustrated. He had been battling this condition for about 14 months.
Okay.
And tried everything.
Was he not playing golf at all?
He couldn't let his arm was locked up.
All right, so no golf for a golf addict is that's the worst sentence.
Busy dad. He's got 2 kids, a daughter, and then his son just signed with Butler for soccer. So really high level athletes. And Andy was actually looking to go outside of the country to get a stem cell injection with a high price tag. And because of where he was just so frustrated. And, his buddy introduced it to him. He puts it on, and now not everyone gets immediate results, right? This thing takes time, but for some, there are rapid responses. And about 5 days, his shoulder's feeling better with full range of motion. It excites him.
Yeah.
And I have cardiovascular challenges.
Okay.
And he knew that. He knew my story. I've actually had 2 near-death experiences. And he called and told me, he's like, Todd, I've got a technology that I think, you really need to look at. And I was intrigued by what I heard. I've been in the medical industry for, 24 years. Pain management, cardiovascular space has been my area. And I said, okay, I'll look into it. Well, my circumstances changed January of 2023. And thank God for his follow-up. On February 2nd, I'll never forget it. Because where I was in life, I was praying for a solution in January. It was a serious situation.
And this is 18 months-ish.
This was, yeah.
Okay.
And so once I slowed down long enough to look into it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get on this thing yesterday.
Okay.
So I started the patch February 4th of last year.
Okay.
And the Cliff Notes version it's been remarkable in improving my quality of life and my recovery. And so the rest is kind of history. So when you have something that has had such a profound impact personally.
Yeah.
You know, it's really too good not to share.
Okay.
Is really the spirit behind this. And then
I didn't know if you wanted to share your recovery from what.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, I had some stents placed back in 2016. They reoccluded, so I underwent a quadruple bypass January 29th of this year.
Wow.
Open heart surgery, and again, guys, my recovery on this, my wound healing has been just utterly remarkable.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, aren't
so,
you 30 years too young for those problems?
Yeah, well,
it's like that, to me, I think of an 80-plus year old.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Well, I mean,
And he looks like he's in shape.
Well, he
too,
doesn't
so.
look 80. That is damn sure. And if you are 80, these patches are like the best thing in the world.
Well, yeah. I mean, so anyway, yeah, it's just some complications of my history, and if I can bring awareness or something that can improve or prevent anything like that ever happening, I'm not gonna keep my mouth shut on it. But again, I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be sharing this story, because
any day above ground is a good day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, it changes your perspective on life, guys. I mean, I'm telling you, it changes your perspective 100%.
Okay.
And so our mission, or my mission on this, is to help as many people as I can while I'm still here.
Well, I mean, and I'll be completely honest and straightforward. When we met a couple of weeks ago, you guys were so passionate about this that I jumped in and I started putting them on my neck.
Yep, you got patched up that day, didn't you?
And you had shared with me at one point, Brad, that it was like 26, 27 days before you started feeling some results. What was it for you, Todd? I forget.
Well, I mean, day 5, I did notice some increased energy. In about 3 weeks in, I noticed, shoulders felt a little looser.
Yeah.
Right. My big thing was the cardiovascular side of things, and so it took about 72 days to get some different results on some exams.
Yep.
And that was, for me, everything. Now, I couldn't feel that happening, so that's another thing that's interesting about this, because everybody's different, right? Everybody has their different challenges. And you just never know until you get your story, and the key is consistency.
Well, the thing that got me was, I told you guys, if I have you on the podcast and I try this, I'm going to give an honest review of it in 60 or 80 or 90 or whatever days, and you guys weren't scared by that at all.
No, I encourage that.
Yeah, you were like, oh, yeah, don't worry about it. So you're not, I think you're gambling with your product. And in a way you are, but you guys didn't seem nervous in any way, shape, or form. You're like, look, it works for everybody. Just do it.
Well, yeah. Well, and plus the company offers a 90-day money-back guarantee. So it's like, what do you have to lose? Absolutely nothing. I mean, there's why not, right? Just try it.
Yeah. So in February we're gonna do this again, and you guys are gonna come back and
we're gonna ask you the stories.
Grill the skeptic, right? Because I'm a skeptical and cynical guy. Brad, you know me a long time. I think everything is BS and everything's a scam. Yeah. And I actually am going so far as to start another podcast that has nothing to do with On Par.
Right.
That we're probably going to get in trouble for a lot of the things that we say.
Conspiracy theories?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, we're going to talk about anything and everything, and nothing's off limits.
All right. I hope I get invited for that one as well.
I believe that you will.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for that,
we love the skeptics. I
that's why you're here.
Yeah, exactly.
You got the skeptic right here.
So let me give you an example of a skeptic. So a good friend of mine, I'm not going to use, his name's Steve, but I wasn't going to use his name.
We're not going to use his name.
We don't know his last name,
Steve.
So there's lots of Steves out there.
So Steve is, like us, one of the biggest skeptics, right? So he's going through a lot of health challenges. He's been in an industry that puts a lot of demand on his body for a lot of years. So I wanted to get him to this. So he's always been good to me. I gifted him a 30-day. And since then, he's continued on it. And every time I check in with him, and I'm sure when Todd checks in, because Todd, I'll tell you one thing you'll notice is that the people who introduce you to these products, they're always checking on you.
Mm-hmm.
You always have somebody checking up, hey, are you feeling? I'm not checking on you after 2 weeks because I kind of want to give you a little bit more time.
Okay.
But you follow up, and every follow-up I've had with Steve is this guy who's had back pain, a number of just problems that make you uncomfortable. And he keeps telling me, I feel pretty good, but I'm not sure really what it is. And I keep getting this feeling pretty good, not really sure. And
the only variable is
now there have been a couple other variables, but the one consistent every day and the one consistent variable that you get with so many different stories is the X39 patch.
Yeah.
And I think that's a powerful testimony because, hey, for the one thing I wanted to express was what I call the compounding interest when it comes to the benefits from this. So with the addition of putting pickleball in my life, not only for the mental health, but the physical aspect of it's wonderful.
And social and business. I mean, I've gotten business from playing pickleball or being in the pool or playing golf.
Yep.
Golf is still king, so don't think we're straying.
He's not straying.
Go ahead.
But then on those same days where I would just anticipate not playing on Saturday or not doing much, just kind of taking it easy, maybe stretching and icing, I'm able to actually work out legs that day. And I've made it, so I've added to my routine, to my fitness routine, which is part of what makes me feel better. Mm-hmm. So it gives me the ability to do more, to get back to what I was used to do when I was at peak, at my peak performance. I am not at peak performance, but I think for my age and where I'm at, I am at peak performance. And I think that's, that compounding interest in what you're able to do and add to your wellness program, whatever it is. I think that's what adds a huge benefit.
Okay.
Well, I think one of the most powerful things about your story is the snowboarding, right?
Yeah.
That one blew my mind.
I was saving that for later.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
All right. So my brother Charlie, who introduced us, we were college students out of Colorado State. We had 5 mountain passes every year. We would, basically school let out Thursday afternoon for us, not for the rest of the university, but we would head to the mountains every weekend. Snowboarding. Revale, all the best mountains in Colorado. Then I tore my ACL. And I tried snowboarding after that, but it wasn't really the same.
Doesn't sound as fun.
It's not. And you realize what an ACL tear means is 9 months of getting back to where you were. And you're trying to think, is going out to the mountains this weekend worth 9 months? And to be honest with you, it just came to the point to where it wasn't. And I also felt a lot of pain. Even after the reconstruction, just because your muscles aren't the same. You have atrophy, you're weaker, and that puts more stress on the joint. So it got to the point, though, probably when I didn't realize I tore that ACL for the second time, where I couldn't even dream of jumping on a snowboard. And this year, after being on the patch for maybe in between 3 and 4 months, in April, I went out to visit a buddy Paul, my buddy Paul out in Colorado, which you
remember Paul?
Yep. Yes. And I jumped on a snowboard with my son. Nice. And that was the first time in 20 years.
So that's a great story, but let me ask you this. Has it made it onto, I think you mentioned baseball and golf, the PGA Tour, but you can't name the player?
Yeah, there's one guy on there, but we can't name the player.
No, I get that. That's okay.
There was a collegiate football team, though, I know, too. I was watching something, I think it was a sales meeting a couple weeks ago, and I think they were talking about a collegiate football.
Yeah, and the patches were used in Paris. And
I shared with you guys. I know a lot of golfers. A lot of the golfers that I know that I play consistently with have 20 years on me. So they're in their early 60s, some of them even up to 75 years young. And I say young because we're in South Florida, and you're not old here till you're like 88, maybe 90.
Don't tell my dad that.
Well, I like your daddy. So he doesn't seem old at all.
No, and he's on the patch.
So, if it works for me, and let's say I'm less sore after golf, or I can play, 4 days in a row when I'm on a golf trip and not be feeling it as much.
Yeah.
You know, I'll sing this from the rooftop to these guys, and, you know, the guys that won't play 2 days in a row, even though they love golf and would like to play every day,
Right.
they can start playing. And if you tell people that either they can play more golf or it'll make them better at golf, which, again, we're not making that claim because I don't need to get sued, but and neither do you guys. Nobody wants that problem. Even though we've had a ton of lawyers on this podcast, by the way. So if we do get sued, we probably have somebody to help us.
Some representation, all right?
Exactly. So, you know, if I see some results and we have another podcast in, let's say, February, because it's November now, I see a lot of potential.
It's huge. It's huge. But, well, and that's why the company's exploding in growth. When this hit the scene, it really hit the scene in we pre-launched in 2019. The company's 20 years old, actually, this year. The patent is what really separates it. Okay. I mean, we have an exclusive patent on this. It was issued July of 2020.
Okay.
And so this is the first ever of its kind to do what it does.
Okay.
All right. And you know, it's all in the patent if you want to read it. But company was doing about 20 million annually up until when this hits the scene. And the last 4 years, from 20 to 24, the company went to $430 million.
Okay.
And we're already north of that for this year. So, you know, I always say that's not going to happen if the results aren't there, because the results drive the demand of this thing.
Sure. Just like any product.
Just like anything.
Work, people don't buy it anymore.
And so it's just a tool, right? You think of this as a tool to help your health and vitality. I mean, the aging process never slows down, right? And that's the exciting thing about what this helps.
And you know, for me, I've spent the better part of this year eating really well. Yeah. You know, we talk about it all the time, Brad, and Todd and I touched on it when we met a couple weeks ago. You know, eliminating the seed oils and the preservatives and eating more meat and, you know, making sure it's quality sourced and all these other, and I'm, you know, into my early 40s now. I'll be 43 pretty soon here. And I can tell you, like, if this thing actually has the compounding interest for me, like it's had for you, you guys, you know, I'm all in.
Yeah, and you start hitting it from all angles. Like when you're getting older, you know, you have to, if you want to be able to maintain or improve your level, you need to start adding, you know, value when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to, you know, getting your stem cell production back in order.
So what are some of the objections or pushback that people give you when you tell them this? I mean, are they skeptical like I was and cynical? Or
I think everybody would be skeptical. And if you were to look at that patch and say that thing's going to change your life if you put it on the back of your neck on a daily basis, if you're not skeptical of that, I don't know what to tell you. I got
in sales. You're easier to sell, right?
Exactly. But they don't understand it. Mm-hmm. I can't say I understand a lot more than I did, but when you tell somebody phototherapy, it's reflecting the light back in to do the work on your stem cell production. Mm-hmm. What does that mean to people?
Yeah, you got to, you know, a mentor of mine said that if you can't explain it to a 10-year-old, and that 10-year-old can explain it at school the next day, and their mom or dad calls you because it's such a cool service, product, concept, whatever, you've completely failed.
Well, let's do that then. So I was explaining it to my kids, and they're like, "What?" You know, they're asking me, "What is that? You know, is it a fentanyl patch? Is it a pain patch? What is it?"
And it's none of that.
None of that. There's no medication.
No
There's nothing. It's phototherapy. It's reflecting back.
Yeah, it's a non-transdermal, meaning nothing is being delivered in the skin. So there's nothing in this that's passing through the skin.
So when I was explaining it to him, I was saying, so, you know, you open up the freezer and you look at the ice machine, and our ice machine is full. Okay. And I said, this is your body, and these are your stem cells.
All right.
And then I said, imagine there's something, that water line gets broken and there's no water feeding in, and we use ice. Mm-hmm. And I say, when you get almost down to the very bottom, that's my body. Mm-hmm. And I said, through using this, my body's starting to look like this full ice tray again.
There you go. Okay.
And
enough said.
My 6-year-old understood that. So
Francesca.
Yeah, Francesca.
Who my daughter calls Francesca.
Francesca.
Which when we were hanging out in the pool in 2020 when no one else was around
Yep.
because everything was closed.
Oh yeah.
Tessa was too young to pronounce Francesca, so that
She
name
was.
has stuck now.
Yeah, I think Francesca was too young to object.
Too young to even care. Yeah, exactly.
As long as we were out among people, I mean, that's all we wanted back in 2020. So
100%. 100%. So what else have I not asked, Todd, that I should know?
How do you wear it? How do you wear it? You wear this 12 hours on, 12 hours off. You want to stay well hydrated, right? The beautiful thing about this technology is you can put it anywhere. The clinical research and the studies were done just at the base of the neck or below the belly button. And for duplication, reasons, standardization, and then plus when you think those are high energy points on the body.
Yeah.
But the patch works systemically, meaning you can put it anywhere on the body and it's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So think energy flow when there's injury or there's challenges in the system. There's a disruption, right?
Okay.
So what this is allowing the body to do is increase energy flow, and it's in essence like building back the body to help it function better. The building blocks, the essential building blocks, right?
Okay.
So this building wouldn't be here without the foundation.
Sure.
So that's just an analogy.
Mm-hmm.
So by incorporating this technology, it's allowing the body to function where it's helping the foundation improve over time, right? Slowing down the aging process, right? The reason why you want to take 12 hours off is to prevent, let's call it attenuation, not to get too sciencey, but basically so your body continues to respond. So that's what it's recommended by the company, Lifeway, per David Schmidt, the inventor and founder.
Okay.
So those are, and then stay consistent.
Yeah.
Right. And then someone's going to say, well, what if you forget to take it off? Well, that happens. I mean, happens to the best of us.
I forgot to put one on one day.
Or you forget to put it on, right?
Now what?
Yeah.
And, one day is not going to, significantly impact
Yeah. It's not like,
so.
So it's just, habit, set an alarm, right? If you do forget to take it off, just take the next day off. No big deal. I mean, it's just.
So what about for like Andy, who introduced you to it and has been on it for so long? Why would somebody who is feeling so much better continue? Like, how do you tell that person, hey, like for instance, for me, I'm feeling 150% better than I did. How long have I been on this? 6-7 months ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do I need to continue to take this?
Well, it's an excellent question. I mean, it's an analogy too.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to stop brushing your teeth?
Exactly.
Right. So you can think of this as a prevention. Again, the aging process never slows down, right? It's the aging process.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I got a better analogy for my golf audience.
If
you take 2 weeks and don't pick up a club and you expect to go hit one down the fairway with no practice, for us mortal golfers, now this Sean Kicker and Rich Rogers are excluded from this conversation because they're PGA of America guys.
Okay.
And they could take 2 weeks off and they're still hitting the fairway.
Sure.
But the rest of us mortal golfers, if we take the patch off, aka don't pick up a club for 2 weeks like I haven't because it's been raining every day, nonstop, and the courses are flooded, I'm going out tomorrow and I better practice first.
Yeah.
So you don't want to stop practicing.
Well, and to tie that in, it's just an excellent analogy, Drew. People want quick fixes, right?
There's no such thing.
And there's no such thing, but we live in such an instant gratification mindset that if someone, say, tries it in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they're not really feeling anything, say, oh, the patch doesn't work, but that would be unfortunate. Because we can't feel certain things happening in our body, yet they're happening.
Yeah.
Right? But it'd be like me, who I don't play golf, want to go win a tournament and just now learning how to swing.
Okay.
Right? It's illogical.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't happen overnight.
I appreciate that word because a lot of stuff is illogical nowadays.
Yes.
I feel like Spock sometimes, and I didn't even watch that show.
Yeah,
my parents watched it, so
right.
I know who Spock is, but I feel like Spock a lot.
Yeah, but with consistency and time, the results will start happening. And that's what's been so exciting. And, from my perspective, watching this thing over the course of, 17 months or so, I've seen too much personally to know that if someone stays the course, their epiphany moments are going to start happening.
Okay.
And that's what makes it so exciting. And then when that happens, you can't keep them quiet because they're naturally going to want to share with the people that they love and care.
This makes sense to me. So on that
so
note,
simple.
Before we sign off for today and kind of tease the February episode with Drew's results, I want to talk about the ManUp golf tournament. It actually funds a really awesome men's conference that I took my dad and my son. So I was like the 3 generations group.
That's awesome.
And it's basically like a full day of halftime motivational speeches, but they want everybody to be able to go. So the golf tournament, which is the first Friday in February, I think it's February 6th, my friend Ed and his buddy Mike Dino, they put on a really awesome golf tournament. It's in Pembroke Lakes Golf and Country Club, right there in Pembroke Pines. And the website to sign up for that is manup.com. You can sign up for the golf tournament, you can be a sponsor, and you can also sign up for the men's conference. Whether you're religious or not, I found it really valuable. So I want to end on that note. Shout out to Ed Colo, and don't forget to sign up for that tournament because I predict that will sell out sometime this month.
Okay.
So thank you guys for being here.
No.
Thank you for introducing me to this cool new technology. And we'll be back in 3 months, and we'll talk about it again. So thanks for listening to the On Par Podcast, and we'll catch you next week.
All right, guys.